Next at 10, a major recruitment drive for the NYPD. Why aren't more blacks in power positions? Icy roads sent cars and trucks flying, and it could get worse tonight. Plus, the passing of a film legend. He made 2001 and other classic movies. The news is next.
Sometimes, when you hug a corner.
Stay tuned for scenes from the next episode of The X-Files on Fox.
Hank's biggest secret revealed.
You were humped by a dolphin.
King of the Hill, Tuesday. Thurgood becomes a love machine.
What's happening?
There's a little urban renewal going on in my pants. That's what's happening.
And all new PJs after King of the Hill, Fox Tuesday.
For those smokers who are ready to quit, Nicorette introduces a breath of fresh air. New mint-flavored Nicorette gum. The same craving-fighting power of Nicorette and the flavor of mint. Nicorette helps you control your cravings so you can break free from smoking. And now you can choose your flavor. Now isn't that a breath of fresh air?
Nicorette helps you fight your cravings, your habit, your way. You can do it. Nicorette can help.
I'm going to the movies.
Hey.
High-definition home theater. Imagine TV.
200 miles of bad road, 600 bottles of nitro, 1 Mercury Mountaineer.
That's nitro, highly explosive.
Payment on delivery. Any questions?
Yeah. Who's he?
Highly...
Hey, Bones!
Yeah?
That would be your driver.
Mountaineer? No problem.
I made this.
Don't go in the bank.
I'm sorry, do I know you?
Next week on an all-new episode of The X-Files.
Face down!
How do you stop something that's destined to happen?
I'm begging you, please don't go this time. Don't let Mulder go either.
She knew both of our names. She said that we'd die.
Something very bad is going to happen here today. I want you to know that I'm not going to let it happen.
We think we've got a body on the floor. 2 more agents might be in there.
It doesn't have to end like this.
Yeah, it does.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? This is the Fox 5 10 o'clock news.
A special honor for the woman whose life was nearly destroyed when she was hit by a lamppost at the Thanksgiving Day parade. One of the police officers accused in the Amadou Diallo shooting says that he won't testify in front of a grand jury.
And the
really gets clobbered. That's where Christopher Jones is right now. Chris, what's going on?
John, allow me to state the obvious. There is something happening here, some kind of precipitation. I don't know whether it's snow, rain, mixing rain, snow. I don't know what it is, but it's getting me a little bit wet. But it's equally obvious, if you look behind me, that it has snowed here recently, quite beautifully. And I'm told, even though we're high on a hill, that come tomorrow, it will be snow everywhere. The snow began falling in Westchester in the early evening, large wet flakes, and for a while it looked like this really was the start of something big. In what seemed like just minutes, streets and cars were covered with a thin layer of snow that had to be cleared from windshields and from windows. The snow accumulated so quickly that special signs on snow removal routes were all but ignored. And then, just as quickly as the snow had begun, it changed to rain. Then it stopped, then changed back to rain again. The changes had real meaning to the stalwart souls who had to work this evening, especially to this young man delivering pizza.
John, how's business? It's picking up in the snow. Now it's starting to die down again. So.
Will that more snow, more pizza?
Yeah.
Dobbs Ferry has some very steep hills, but Bob Casino is on the case.
We got plenty of salt to keep whatever they got.
You better, because it's very hilly around here, isn't it?
Yes, most of the snow is up on the hills, the 2 hills that we have. The lower roads in our main area is all wet.
So what's the big challenge on these hills? Put sand down? Is that what you're doing?
Just salting the heck out of it now. Try to keep up so the kids go to school tomorrow.
Well, they don't want to do that. High on this hill in Dobbs Ferry, there still hasn't been a lot of snow, but everybody says there will be, maybe as much as 6 inches here in Dobbs Ferry, a little bit less elsewhere. So get up a little bit earlier tomorrow, plan for your day, and kids, if you're still watching, you can still pray for that snow day. I'm Christopher Jones, Fox 5 News. Back to you, Cynthia.
All right, Chris, we got to get you off of that hill. Now let's find out what the commute's going to be like tomorrow.
All right,
Joe's here with
that.
the first on Fox forecast.
Well, all day long we've been battling, and anyway, I've been battling in my meteorological brain. Are we going to get snow? Are we not going to get snow? What is the deal here? Well, it's kind of tricky right now, and I'm still not confident that it's going to be a big deal at all. This is the swirling action of the low pressure over western Pennsylvania now. What needs to happen is a coastal storm needs to develop. The models are saying that it still will. The National Weather Service thinks it still will, and they continue with the warnings and the advisories. Right now, you can see the snow band to the north of the city. This is where the main low is. A secondary storm needs to develop by overnight, and that's when the bulk of the precip will be gone and through the area. So they continue with a winter weather advisory. 30 minutes ago, they changed their minds about the winter storm warning. This is it. This has now been taken down. So a winter weather advisory for the entire metro area between 2 and 4 inches of snow. 4 inches of snow to the north, most likely 2 inches of snow in the city, and well to the south, nothing at all. This will all be out of here by tomorrow, and temperatures will be rising close to 60 degrees, 60 by Wednesday. Back to you guys for now.
Crazy weather. All right, thanks, Joe. Well, a young man became a king today, and the world is praying he's a chip off the old block. And King Hussein is going to be nearly an impossible act to follow. But he chose his son, Abdullah, to do exactly that, and he was sworn in a few hours after his father passed away. His first official act was to name his stepbrother, Queen Noor's oldest son, the Crown Prince.
Well, John, King Hussein spent more than 4 decades as a monarch of Jordan. He was just a teenager when he was crowned. And now dignitaries, world leaders, and thousands of people mourn his death and prepare for his funeral tomorrow. A collective wail of sorrow, yet a personal time of mourning, as hundreds of Jordanians wept for the death of their king. Mourners lined the street to watch as King Hussein's body was moved from the hospital where he lost his long and public battle with cancer. His many trips to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota couldn't stop the lymphoma from spreading. His body was taken to a royal palace in the capital of Amman. The man who was hailed as the champion of peace, a man of courage and humility, died at the age of 63.
The pain and the sadness and missing King Hussein will prevail for a very, very long time.
The waves of sorrow can be felt worlds away on the streets of New York.
He was like a father, brother, friend, and a love man to the whole world.
I love him, and you know, all my family love him, my father, my mother, and everybody, and it's really, really tough time for Jordan now.
And the news of the king's passing prompted emotional tributes from around the world.
There is no question that with the passing of King Hussein, that his country and the region and the world has lost a great leader and a force for good and peace.
With his death, we have lost a soldier of peace.
Jordan's King Hussein, the direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, was crowned king when he was 17 years old. And in his nearly 50-year reign, the longest for any leader, he became the key force for stability in the Middle East. He led his country through decades of war, upheaval, and to the landmark 1994 peace treaty with neighboring Israel.
With great sadness, we bid farewell to you, king and friend. The peace between our peoples will be a testament to your abiding belief. Rest in peace.
It's not just Jordan that will be mourning today, and tomorrow will be Israel as well, and our flag will be flying at half-mast as an expression of that mourning and that sadness.
Both the flags of the Israeli government and the Palestinian Authority were lowered to half-staff in an unprecedented sign of solidarity and a tribute to the king. 37-year-old Crown Prince Abdullah will carry the king's flag. Abdullah was officially sworn in just hours after losing his father. A comforting sight for many to know the king's legacy will be preserved, yet others still doubt.
I think all of us now worry about the future without Hussein around.
But for now, prayers are being said for Hussein's family, his fourth wife, the American-born queen of an Arab nation, Queen Noor, and his 12 children. And perhaps a collective prayer is being said for the future of Jordan and the Middle East. Jordan began 6 days of full mourning, part of the traditional 40-day Muslim period of respect for the dead. John?
Well, Cynthia, President Clinton is on his way to Jordan for the funeral, despite his impeachment trial. And senators hit the talk show circuit this morning to talk about what else. Should he be thrown out of office or not?
I have no doubt that he has given false testimony under oath and that he has misled the American people. But having said all of that, under the circumstances, he has less than 2 years to serve. He has done a lot of good things, and the American people don't want him removed.
Senator Byrd does appear to be doing a little bit of backsliding. For most of the trial, he pushed for the case to be dismissed. They could start the closing arguments tomorrow.
Well, it's been a long 6 months for pro basketball fans. That's how long the lockout has kept the teams off the courts. The Knicks came home to face the Heat today, and the question is, was it a happy homecoming? Tom McDonald's here with the answer.
Cynthia, the Knicks sold out the Garden in their home opener and their return, and a lot of fans were there to see how the new-look Knickerbockers would do, especially Latrell Sprewell. Latrell's national TV debut as a Knick was a bust. Kept missing. Sprewell didn't score in the opening half, wound up hitting only 2 of 12 shots. We'll hear from Latrell, have the highlights on Sports Extra right after the news. The New Jersey Nets also opened their home season tonight, and the Nets' new $100 million man, Jason Williams, came through. With a block like that, we'll talk to Jason and the Nets when John and Cynthia are finished with the news. John?
Sounds like a little opening night jitters there for Mr. Sprewell.
He denied that.
Oh, all right. Very good, Tommy. Talk to you later. Hundreds of people took to the streets in the Bronx. They want to know why a man died in a hail of police gunfire Thursday night. And as Bill Rappley reports, there were some tense moments.
Nearly 2,000 rallied outside the Bronx apartment where Amadou Ahmed Diallo was killed by 19 bullets early Thursday morning. 4 police officers shot 41 rounds at the unarmed African immigrant, and now activists are saying the police must answer for their actions.
We call on the immediate arrest of these 4 policemen.
All kinds of groups are using this incident to try and rally support. Everything from the Socialist Workers' Party to the Labor Black League, even the Green Party.
They shot at him with 41 times. Every single day they shoot people of color either 1 or 2 or 3 times, and it doesn't bring all these people out. And this is what we have to understand.
The 4 cops involved have yet to give their explanation for the shooting, but their lawyer says they will, and they will be exonerated.
I think fair-minded and right-minded people are willing to wait to hear all the facts. The one disturbing thing about the demonstration today is people are condemning the police officers' actions without knowing exactly what took place. Yes, 41 shots were fired. However, if the circumstances are right, police are entitled to fire that many times, and they fire until they think a threat is over.
Today's rally almost ignited a confrontation between the crowd and the same police force they're criticizing. On the edge of the crowd, you can see a baseball bat confiscated by police. Suddenly, the threat of violence appeared real, but both sides held back and the incident went no further. But these groups promise they will continue to push for punishment for police who crossed the line.
We've won some, we've lost some. We're going to fight this one the way we won, by bringing it with sustained fighting and not turning around. And when you see thousands of people out here in this kind of weather, they're not going to turn around. We're going to win.
The next vigil's already scheduled for Tuesday. In the Soundview section of the Bronx, Bill Rappley, Fox 5 News.
The New York City corrections officer accused of a New Year's Eve DWI accident will be arraigned tomorrow. Police say Edwin Rodriguez was driving home from work when his car rear-ended another. 3 people in that car were killed. The driver managed to get out. It happened in Holtzville, Long Island. Tomorrow, Rodriguez could face a 21-count indictment, which includes murder and DWI charges.
Well, I'm betting that you always buckle up when you drive. I'm counting on you to anyway. Well, if you're one of those driving sports utility vehicles, that belt might not be enough for you if you roll over. Steve Fulmer is going to tell you what they're doing, though, to make those four-wheelers less dangerous.
All of a sudden, it sounded like an explosion.
Do you drive a sport utility or a light truck like this one?
And this big truck, whatever it is, came flying through the air, landed on my hood, and then kept flying.
If you wreck in an SUV, chances are about 1 in 3 you'll roll over.
Steel beams in the car body, airbags inside the steering wheel, lap and shoulder belts over your body. None of these things works as well once you're upside down.
The rollover event is a very complex crash.
Greg Mowry is a crash safety engineer.
How that plays out is very random and unpredictable.
Rollover risks got the government's attention way back in the late 70s. Remember all the flap over the Jeep's CJ5? The surging popularity of sport utility trucks has engineers pushing hard for ways to reduce the dangers.
What you have to remember is the weight and mass of a sport utility vehicle is far different than a passenger car.
Chris Seidentop teaches driving at the Bondurant School.
As you go through a corner in a passenger car, any passenger car that's lower to the ground, you're not going to feel as much what we call lateral weight transfer, side-to-side movement.
This year, the government safety agency is expected to launch a test standard that would let you compare one SUV to another when it comes to rollover safety. But it's tough to even come up with a fair test.
What the occupants do inside the vehicle is very unrepeatable. It's very different. And once the occupant is ejected, the possibility that the vehicle will roll on top of him is very high.
One way to do the test might be with this gadget. No matter what vehicle you put it on, it steers precisely the same severe turns. The test driver just has to hold on for dear life. A possible fix to the rollover danger is already being made here at Simula in Phoenix. This tube airbag is proven to keep people inside the car during a rollover, even if the windows break out. About 6 of 10 people who die in rollover crashes are thrown through a side window. Steve Filmer, Fox News.
Well, with a lot of airfare skyrocketing, there still may be a way to travel on the cheap. A new budget airline hopes to get started up by fall. And if they get the okay, New Air plans to fly out of Kennedy Airport to more than 40 cities around the country. A flight from New York to Boston could cost as little as $39 one way.
Well, smoke detectors, as you know, save lives, but